2 days from now is my due date. I've been promising myself I was going to do a video talking about how my life has progressed from the time that I had the abortion to my due date, and how I was feeling and how I was coping with everything. And to be perfectly honest, my life has just moved on. And I think it moved on very quickly. I think it moved on more quickly than is normal. And I think it would be very easy for people to look at that and say that I'm just heartless, but I tend to move on very quickly from things that happen that are not good. And I've had enough things that were not good happen to me that I've just gotten used to moving on. Which is not the same as not caring. I still care. One of the things I really want to do is to have some sort of a funeral for him before we try for another baby. Definitely before we try for another baby. I don't know how I want to do the funeral. I don't know if I want to scatter the ashes. I think even before we got the ashes back from the hospital, I was looking up what to do with ashes and how to handle them, because I've never had to deal with a loved one or relative's ashes before. And so this was a first for me. It's like, okay, well, what do I do with them? And so I was looking into, urns. I was looking into scattering them. I was looking into having them interred. I was looking into, just how do I handle this? How do I handle this? I really, really want to do right by him. I know that this is after the fact. So if you're extremely pro-life and you're looking at this, you might be under the impression that doing right by him would have been to let him live until birth. There's a 70% chance that he would be dead right now, naturally on his own, without any outside intervention. And even with outside intervention, there's still a 70% chance he would be dead. And his chances aren't going to improve with the passage of time. I can pretty well count, as the days pass from this point, what his odds of being alive would be, and they're just gonna go down. I think a year from today, I can pretty safely say that he would be dead. I was thinking, I think it was just last week, I was looking at my kids and I was thinking about this video that I have where I was introducing my two older kids to their younger brother, my youngest. We just brought him back from the hospital, and we showed them this baby, and we were all sitting on the couch together, and one of them was sitting on my lap, and they were staring at him, and they were stunned because they'd never seen a teeny tiny baby before, in their memory at least. And they were just looking at him, and I've got this recording of these little tiny voices going, "It's a baby, it's a baby." And it was just amazingly cute. And I watch that video with them every once in a while, because now he's yay high, and he's toddling all over the house and exploring things and trying to play with the electrical sockets and getting into all sorts of stuff. And he used to be just, a newborn baby is shockingly tiny. and he was that shockingly tiny. And I was looking at the kids just yesterday and thinking, how awesome it would be to be introducing them to a newborn. The oldest one, she's a lot, well, she's not a lot older, but she's a year older. She's much more able to figure out things in her world, and she's much more aware of everything around her. And so, she would process all of this differently. And, the youngest is, well, he's definitely never seen a baby before. And so that would be really cool. And I mean, last week, I think it was, I was just looking at them all and thinking, this is about that time. This is when it would be happening. How awesome would that be if I could be introducing them to a new baby today? And I've heard enough abortion stories. Like, I've listened to women talking about their abortions and having those moments where it's like, oh my God, I would be pregnant right now, like really big and round and pregnant, or oh my God, I would have a baby right now. And for me, it's like, gee, that's a wonderful thing, and wouldn't it have been nice if it had worked out that way? But it wasn't going to work out that way. And that's how I see it. I could not have kept him alive. I couldn't have saved him. And I've talked to so many people online who've argued, well, there was always that little slim 0.000 whatever percent chance. And they believe it. They believe it very firmly that there was some slim little chance and that I should have held on for that slim little chance. But I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry, but I played by the numbers. Trisomy 18 is fatal. I believe it's safe to say that it is 100% fatal. The question isn't whether it will kill you, but when it will kill you. And there are people with trisomy 18 who have lived as long as 2 full decades, which is a long time. It's 20 years. It's a long, long time. But they're very rare people. And I mean, medical technology is changing. There could come a point very soon where those numbers are going to change and that life expectancy is going to change, but we're not living in that time right now. And there was already a 70% chance he would not be born alive. I could not save him. And that's it. So I don't have any guilt. It wasn't something I did wrong. It wasn't something that could have been prevented. It wasn't something that could have been predicted. It wasn't something I could have magically avoided. I feel no guilt. I was looking into, interestingly enough, I was looking into the Catholic Church and the views of the Catholic Church on abortion, which I've done. And I found this really interesting study. I should probably figure out where it went and link to it. I think it was a study of women in Poland. I can't remember. Women of Catholic faith who had abortions for medical reasons. And quite a high number of them didn't feel like there was anything to confess to the church, like, going to confession. They didn't feel that there was anything to confess. They didn't feel like they'd done anything wrong. It was a medical problem. You couldn't fix it. You couldn't stop it. It wasn't exactly an elective procedure. And I thought that was interesting because I find myself in that position where I really don't feel like I've done anything wrong. More and more as I look at my life and I look at the situation, especially from different angles and different points along the way, like when you're in the thick of it, when you're right in the middle of making the decision, it's very emotional and it's very urgent. And weirdly enough, a lot of that emotion that I felt at that time was, how do I protect him? How do I take care of him? And then only afterwards, when he was dead and everything was final, only then could I start feeling sorry for myself, or really any emotions for myself. Everything up to that point was like, I have a job to do and I have to do my job. And now as months have passed, I've had some time to get some distance and some perspective, and I really, really just don't feel guilty for anything that I've done here. And I've gotten over it. My baby died, and I got over it because life goes on, and you have to keep living. I actually have from my doctor, from my doctor, the go-ahead to try for another baby. I'm taking an iron supplement because I lost a lot of blood. I'm probably going to continue taking the iron supplement. That's probably a good idea. But we tested my blood and my levels are on the low end, but normal and acceptable for trying for another baby. So again, I want to give him a funeral of some sort. I don't know if I mentioned that actually. I want to give him a funeral of some sort before we try for another baby. I don't know how to do that exactly, but I'm going to look into it. I'm going to think about it. But I definitely want to do it before we try for another baby. Anyway, my life has been moving on. I painted the bathroom today. Our bathroom is terribly ugly. We got this little house and it was built in the early 70s, and it's actually a really, really cute little house. It's the kind of house that you would love to have if you were a sweet little old couple. Maybe not the most ideal setup if you're a couple with an ever-growing number of small children, because, you know, if they're making noise on that end of the house, I can hear it all the way over on this end of the house. But I actually like small houses. I like smaller spaces, and it's perfect in that way. But the bathroom is a smaller space, and that's a little less than perfect. And the bathroom design, I don't know why they put it together the way they did, but that's definitely less than perfect. And so my husband and I have been coping with our bathroom. When I was pregnant with my most recent child, my youngest, I got annoyed because my stomach kept bumping into this gigantic, oversized 1970s like sink that was in the bathroom. It was just the vanity. I kept bumping into the vanity. And you couldn't really squeeze into the bathroom very easily without bumping into the vanity on a normal basis. And I was just huge in front. And so my husband went on a business trip and I ripped out the vanity while he was gone. It was like a 2-day business trip, and he came back and I had gutted the bathroom and put in a new vanity. My in-laws helped me build the new vanity, and we used a salad bowl for the sink. We crafted a sink out of a salad bowl, and it looked okay, and it was supposed to be one of those really, really quick stopgap measures, and it lasted for months, and now we have a new sink and we're waiting to install it. We just haven't gotten around to it. And today I painted the bathroom, and a couple days ago I went in and I ripped out a bunch of the tiling because there was this 1970s cardboard tile that had been installed against one of the walls halfway up the wall, but it wasn't even halfway. It was like kind of jagged, and I was so happy to be ripping that stuff out. I was so happy to see it go away. So that was a good thing. I was excited about that. But then there was a hole in the wall, and so I put up some paint. And it still doesn't look good. It's still a really ugly bathroom, but there's nothing that's beautiful about that bathroom. I think that's safe to say. It has a window. I always wanted a bathroom with a window, and it has a window. So there is one beautiful thing about that bathroom. Everything else is just kind of really dated. And so, yeah, life is moving on, and I painted a bathroom, and I've been working on painting my daughter's room. I actually want to put up some videos of some of the stuff that I've done just to paint their walls and, you know, make their room look a little prettier. That's gonna be a bonus video. I don't know if anyone's gonna watch that, but I figured it would be kind of fun, just a fun side thing to put up. life is moving on, and I'm moving on. And I think it would be very, very easy to say that I'm being selfish by moving on. But if you think I'm being selfish by moving on, I really do want to know what else I was supposed to do. You know, the alternative would be to like sink into some sort of depression and wallow around in that depression for a while and then move on. And I didn't necessarily want to do that. I kind of have a very short life to live, and you know, it not short by comparison to other people, but life is short. And I have a lot to do in that time. I'm not going to get it all done. Time frame is too short. I've got a lengthy bucket list, and I'm crossing off things every chance I get, and I'm not going to be able to do all of them. So, you know, really, I don't have much time to waste. Anyway, this has been a very rambling video, but I did want to talk about just the fact that my due date is here. We have the all clear to have another baby. We gotta talk about that, my husband and I, because I nearly witted him during this last pregnancy, and I don't know how thrilled he is about trying for another one. Which is a very, very logical thing, and he's a very logical man. So, you know, we'll see when we're ready, and we'll see how things go if we're ready. But we do have the all clear, so medically speaking, we're good. We're good. I'll talk to you guys later.